You are listening to the Critical Mass Radio Show, Orange County's business talk show, focused on exploring topics of interest to CEOs who are leading middle market companies. With your host, Ric Franzi.
Hello and welcome to Critical Mass Business Talk Show. I am excited. Do we have a good show for you today? Shellee Howard, who is CEO of College Ready, is our guest on this program. Shellee, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much.
I'm super excited to have you here today. Let's start right off the top. You've been in business for 13 years. Take us back. What was your original motivation to start your business, Shellee?
Well, College Ready is actually, I think, my 7th business that I've started from zero. And it really happened at my son's high school graduation. I was sitting in the front row, so proud, like any parent. And he got up to give his salutatorian speech, and a young man sitting next to me says, "Dude, I didn't even know that kid was smart." And I'm like, brilliant. Here is a young man going off to Harvard, and his peers don't even think that he's anything special. He was just himself. He was very balanced. And it really made me think that his path was very simple, but strategic. And that's what launched College Ready. So on that day, I had several parents come up to me and say, "How do I get that for my child?" And I was just doing it as a side hustle because I already had a career. And then I started thinking, wait a minute, I love working with teenagers, helping them figure out who they are, why it matters, and what they want to do in the world. And before you knew it, I slowly was transitioning out of my other business and full-time into College Ready. And so this is our 13th application season.
So you sort of described what you do, but help our audience understand the business of College Ready.
Absolutely. So College Ready helps students get into their best match college with a standout strategy, because nowadays it's very different than when my generation went to college. I applied to 2 schools, got into both. It was it was nothing like it is today. Well, when my son did it in 2012, the reality hit of it is a massive competition. And since then, it's gotten even more competitive. So I help families take away the overwhelm, the uncertainty, and I've created a platform, a cloud-based platform where we create a standout strategy with a game plan. It's kind of like going to the football game and having all of the strategy written on your forearm. You know the plays, you know what needs to happen, you're ready to pivot. We run it like a small business. So I help students build their resume to not only prepare for college, to prepare for life. Mm-hmm. And so these students come out of high school knowing I have a top 3 major. I know where I want to go to college. I have a pretty good idea what I want to do with my life because we've spent time strategizing and planning that. So College Ready really focuses on not only getting into a college, but also an exit strategy. What do they want to do after? How much more schooling? What is their return on investment? That is a big understanding in the College Ready plan. So it is financially understanding and it is academically understanding. And then we use a passion with purpose project to help students understand what are their gifts and their talents, what do they want to see changed in the world, and lead others to create that change, all while being mentored by an adult who understands this process.
I would assume that is a differentiated application then when it's turned into the colleges of their choice from maybe what other students are doing. So not only does it seem to help the student get clarity, I would think when it's received on the college admission side, they see this as a different type of application. Is that true?
Oh, 100%. Because the reality is, last year we had 3 students with a 5.0 GPA. Most people don't even realize it is a 5.0 standard. That same 3 had a perfect ACT score of a 36. So help me understand from a college's perspective, when they have all of these outstanding overachievers, how do they choose? Well, they choose based on They want to know if they bring that student into their school, are they going to just sit and take an education and leave? Or are they going to make that institution better while being there? I tell families, think of it like a business. If I bring you a small resume, I get paid very little. If I bring you a very robust resume, you're going to pay me for it. And that's how our students received over $10.7 million in scholarships last year.
Wow. Boy, you got the business dialed in there. It's impressive to hear you speak. I'm wondering, when did you truly believe that College Ready as a business was going to thrive?
I first knew I was onto something when my son had 7 full ride offers to top tier schools, because he wasn't the 5.0 student. He wasn't the perfect test score, but his strategy, I had built him a business, and it was all focused on him and what he could achieve. That was my first glimpse, because he went to Harvard for free. And I knew if I could duplicate that process and that procedure, I had something. And I then did it 4 years later for his younger sister. She went to University of Alabama for free, and CBU paid less $1,000 a semester.
Hmm.
So from a business perspective, I knew that I had something. It wasn't really until I achieved it with other people's children that I truly understood that this was something that was solid and doable for all teenagers if they wanted it. If a
Mhm.
student does not want to do the work, it is not going, I can't do anything about them not being involved. But for any student who has desire, tenacity, determination, the sky's the limit. There is so much opportunity. People focus in on just the few, the UCLAs, the USCs, the UCIs, the UC San Diego. They focus on, but there's so many amazing colleges out there that they would have just as strong of an opportunity when they graduated. They just don't know what that is. I often tell families, you just don't know what you don't know. And
Right.
as soon as I figured out what that was, and I can help students and families prepare, the opportunities are endless for these kids.
That's at the foundation of that is the student's desire to put the energy in, and the parents can't compensate for that. It's got to be innate in that individual. So you're helping people. I believe we don't do well what we don't do often. Parents generally, unless they have a huge family, don't have their kids, applying to college very often. And you have the benefit of years of experience with a variety of different students and testing your model and kind of coming up with the best practices. I'm sure over the years, though, College Ready has faced some serious challenges. I don't know if the Great Recession impacted it or when, but all entrepreneurs kind of have a time when they felt that maybe the business that they've created might be at risk. Was there a time like that for you, Shelly?
Absolutely. I would say every one of my businesses, there's been we bought the new car. How do we pay for the tires? Like, whoa. It really, for College Ready, though, it was, I had just been featured on Fox 5 News. 2 days later, the scandal broke about the whole,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, right? And
Right.
so I had just been presented to the world as this expert. And then even the harder part is the gentleman who got put in jail literally was 1 mile from my office.
Yeah, he's Orange County. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I was being interviewed by newspapers. I was being interviewed on talk shows because they wanted to know, did I know him? I
Mhm.
didn't personally know him, thank goodness, but I did know his clients, because they would come to me and say, well, so and so is guaranteeing my kid. Why can't you? And I'm like, oh, there's no way you can guarantee it. And he figured out a way, but that is not how College Ready wants to go to,
Mhm.
to the next level. So that's when I was very much at their mercy, because people started really questioning, are all college consultants, as shady as that situation. And being part of an ethics organization called HECA, they were really great to rally around the independent college consultants and help us understand how important it is to let parents know we can't guarantee it. There's no way ethically, legally, that anybody can guarantee this. And so we're very honest and straightforward, because if the student doesn't want to do the work, there's nothing we can do about it. And so we don't take every student. Truly, if I see a student, I interview every student. If they are rolling their eyes or sighing or looking irritated, I just tell the family that they're not mature or ready yet. Maybe it's just not their time yet. But most of the students I get to be with are they're mind blowing how
Mhm.
amazing they are. So I don't face that dilemma often, but the scandal was probably the one time where I was fearful of what was going to happen in my industry.
So we're talking with Shellee Howard, and her company is College Ready. And that is, Shelly, that's such a perfect example of sometimes things that threaten your business are beyond your control. I mean, that is an externality, a highly publicized externality, because there were famous people associated with this guy. So the media just got onto that story. That is such a powerful story that you just shared with that, and one that I think is a teachable moment for every entrepreneur. Not that you have to be paranoid about things happening outside your business, but just recognize you may have to respond to things that are totally outside of your business model and your control. And like you did, successfully navigate that. So congratulations on being a survivor that way of that. You mentioned that you're a multi-time serial entrepreneur, and we did a LinkedIn post asking this question. I need to turn my attention to my screen over here, which was, how important is it for an entrepreneur who is starting a company to have previously started at least one successful company? Knowing that I was having you on the show and you're a serial entrepreneur, I wanted to ask my community about that. And we gave them choices of absolutely important, 14% said that. Important, 10% said. Somewhat important were 14%. And then not really important got the most, got 62% of the votes said that. So from your experience as a serial entrepreneur, how beneficial was it to you with College Ready to have started other successful enterprises?
That's an interesting question, because I knew straight out of high school that I wanted to be an entrepreneur, which
Mm.
is not a very common thing. And this is way back before Facebook and all of that stuff, right? Where you just became famous. Both my parents were entrepreneurs. And so in my world, it looked like a really brilliant way to live life. They both were in control of their destiny, and they were both hard workers, and it paid off. So I wanted that, but I had a very wise father tell me, I think going to college is a really great idea because it just will give you an added benefit or advantage. And then secondly, start with a Fortune 500 company, let them train you with all the mistakes they've made, and then you launch. And that's exactly what I did. So I went to college, started 4 days after graduation with Procter and Gamble.
Mm.
They did a brilliant job of training me. I was an operations manager before I left, and I had 55 people that I oversaw. And so I had all of those skills that I learned on the job. And so when I finally launched, it was actually quite easy because I had all of the necessary skills and the desire to be an entrepreneur. So I didn't have some of maybe the things that direct launch companies might have. Mine was different in the fact that I had already been a manager and already managed large sums of money. And I had a territory from San Diego to Santa Barbara. I mean, so I kind of had my own business, and my boss lived in Chicago.
Mm.
So I wasn't punching a clock. I wasn't in an office. I never had any of that. So for me, I really, it wasn't a very big difference for me to just launch. And I did it. I just, one day I gave my notice. 2 weeks later, I started my business, and I never looked back. And I only left each time because I found something I like better. So for me, College Ready is probably my final destination. I love every single second of it. Playing with teenagers every single day in their world, and it's just so much fun. They're so full of dreams
Mhm.
and excitement, and they embrace life, and it's just a really neat place to help them navigate that next level. So I didn't experience any of that really. It wasn't a struggle. Yeah, I loved it. I could launch businesses for a career. That would be really fun for me.
Be careful. That might be your next inspiration. Who knows, Shelly? Right? Never say never. There's a through line in your life that I'm picking up, which is you strike me as someone who is a strategic planner.
For sure.
The early advice you got about getting a job, going to college, getting a job with a big company, I totally resonate with that because I think that is valuable experience. I'm wondering now, as the world is kind of evolving, I've seen surveys where millennials and Gen Z are showing a preference for working for smaller businesses now because they believe they have a lot more likely to make an impact on the business, and the
Mhm,
business can influence the business more. So
mhm.
it's curious to me where people are looking to get their experience, but I think there's no substitute for experience
Right.
in business. Experience is the best teacher, but some lessons can be learned vicariously from other people's experience,
For
or in
sure.
your case you're sort of playing with other people's money, right? You're working
Mhm.
for a large company, they're training you and teaching you, and your mistakes are kind of rolling up to their balance sheet or their income statement, not your own personal. So that's a great story. But I'm wondering, where do you go to get access to other entrepreneurs' insights and experiences that can help you to stay ahead of your competition and grow College Ready?
Yeah, that's a really good question. That goes back to my strategic planning. I have an amazing team of entrepreneurs that we all support each other. I always tell families, think about it this way: you could do your own taxes, or you would hire a CPA. It's the same way in the world of business for me. I'm not the essay editor. I have the best essay editor there is in the business, the best test strategist. And so I surround myself with other like minded business people that support my family. So if they want to talk about how to lower their expected family contribution or how to complete the FAFSA,
Hmm.
I consult with them, I give them options. And then when they are ready to go further, I have a whole team of, okay, should we do this? Should we do that? And so I really believe that the team concept is why College Ready is so successful. Is we don't try to do it, on our own and put a flag, in the ground. We're like, how do we support you? What can we do to help you? And ultimately, our goal is to get that family exactly what they want. And if that is whatever dream school A is, that's plan A until they tell us, okay, plan A is no longer where we want to go. And then we move on to plan B. And now we have the COVID plan. The reality is, we don't know. We all thought we would be out of this a lot sooner. And if a family is going to spend $70,000 a year on a college education, do they want to do it online? So we have a backup to our backup, because that strategic planning in me says we don't want to leave anything to what happened to a lot of other students who didn't have a backup plan. Our students pivoted just like that when COVID hit. We had a plan C and they're working the plan C. So it's a different way of doing it. These kids have gone through some really challenging times, but they're coming out of it very directed, focused. I'm really proud of them. They're a very mature group, more so than I've had in the past.
Hmm.
So I think that they are having to really count on themselves to get through online school. I think some of them are really having to be challenged and rise to the occasion. So we turn lemons into lemonade. That's what we do. We help students focus on, instead of, I couldn't because of COVID. Well, what did we do? Well, we took the gift of time that they couldn't play their sport and we poured it into online community service or, helping technology with the elderly home. So we just took it a different way and spun it for these kids. Instead of feeling sad and depressed, they're feeling empowered. And that is truly the gift of what College Ready is all about.
It's fantastic. What a hopeful, encouraging story that you just shared with us. I'm glad we asked you that question. So, just a couple more here today on the Business Talk Show. Let's talk about tomorrow. Shelly, describe your vision for the future of College Ready.
Yeah. So College Ready has become global. Not that it was ever our intent, but aunts and uncles of our US students may live abroad. And so what we're finding is that there's students here who may want to take a gap year, or they might want to study internationally, or they may want to do a study abroad program. So College Ready is now supporting those families. And so I'm doing a lot of international research and studying or and traveling abroad to help families understand and how to navigate that. So that's one piece of it. The second piece of it is we're really focusing in on who is the student and why does it matter, instead of focusing in on a brand name of a college.
Mm.
Because we have found in 13 years that if that college match is a good academic fit, a social fit, and a financial fit, these students are set for life. If they miss either the academic or the social, there's repercussions when they get there. So we're really helping families have it all, if you will, instead of just picking colleges based on a football team. And so that is a reality. If you ask a teenager where you want to go, my daughter, she said, I want to go to Alabama. I said, why? And she goes, duh, mom, the football. And I'm like, okay. So, we're trying to help these students get a little bit more depth and a little bit more breadth of who are they before they launch. And so we start students as early as when they promote from 8th grade.
Hmm.
So we're nurturing them along this path and helping them get clear before they have to make this big decision at 17 or 18 years old.
Wow, again, how inspiring is that? Because it is such a huge decision and you're helping people make the best decision. I'm so encouraged to hear you say that you're looking beyond the brand of the college to the reality of the experience and the education. That's so meaningful. How does someone connect with you on LinkedIn or learn more about College Ready?
Absolutely. So on LinkedIn, the best way, if you can see the screen, the name is Shellee, Shellee. That is unique. Howard, Howard. And you can find me on LinkedIn. I'm on every social media platform, as well as College Ready and CR Tutoring and Test Strategies. That's our sister company.
Mm.
And then if you just simply want to go to our website, which is College Ready Plan, because it is a plan.com, all the links are there. I would also like to offer all of your listeners a free discovery call with myself where I can pour into your student situation, your family situation, and help guide you as to what is the next step for your family.
And how would they take advantage of that offer?
It's directly on my website. It says
Okay.
free discovery call. In How Did You Hear About Us? They put the Critical Mass Business Talk Show.
Perfect. Well, thank you very much for offering that. I appreciate it. You've been an enthralling guest. I really have enjoyed your story, and I'm inspired by the work you're doing with the next generation of leaders in the country. So thank you, Shelly.
My pleasure.
I'd also like to thank Gottlieb, Rackman, and Reisman, who proudly support this edition of Critical Mass Business Talk Show. GRRPC provides legal advice and guidance on all aspects of intellectual property law, including patents, trademarks, and copyrights. If you'd like to learn more, visit their website at grr.com. I'd like to thank you all for being a part of Orange County's longest running business talk show. This was episode 1319. If you'd like to connect with me on LinkedIn, I'm Ric, R-I-C, Franzi, F-R-A-N-Z-I, or you can visit my website, which is ricfranzi.com. And until the next time we have a chance to be together, I hope all of your business decisions will move your company in a positive direction.